Hello and welcome back to the third video. In this video we're going to start looking at creating the instancing setup to populate the whole cloud bed area. And first of all, I'm gonna explain how the instancing works in Arnold. And it uses the instance node that comes with Houdini. But for us to instance anything, we have to convert it to an S file. We cannot use anything from that is live from Houdini. We have to first export it to an S file, which is the Houdini, the Arnold scene files, and then use a Arnold procedural node to read that S file again, and then use the instancing to copy this node. So we have to first convert our cloud into an S file, and to do that we have to use a rope node. So I'm gonna go back to the out, and I'm gonna create another Arnold, and we're gonna call this cloudbed export. And I'm gonna use a green color. I'm gonna select the test camera. We don't need any lights, just to be sure, and we're gonna export this. And so let's export one frame. Let's not confuse ourselves. We're gonna export one frame of this guy. So I'm gonna set the frame range to be 1 to 1, and we don't worry. The render settings are not considered in this case. We're gonna go to the archive tab and select export as, and I'm gonna check these two guys because we would like to add a prefix and use the frame number as well. And we don't need to export options, which is the render settings. We don't need cameras, we don't need lights, we don't need overrides, we don't need output driver, we don't need the pixel filter, but we need the stock, which is the bounding box description for the S file that's gonna get exported. We want binary compression, binary encoding. We want to export shapes and export shaders. In this case, some people may have used to export only geometry in the S file and the assign shaders back to the instance at render time. In this case, we cannot do that. We have to export the cloud with the shader itself. So we're gonna export shader here. Click the export shader, and for the path, I'm gonna use $f. I'm gonna name this cloud underscore bad dot frame dot s, and I'm gonna hit render, and this will create the S file for us. So if I look for that, it created it now, and now we have an S file for the cloud. So I'm gonna go back to the object level, and I'm gonna hide this because we don't need it anymore. And we're gonna create an Arnold procedural node to read what we exported right now. And I've already exported the files, so I'm gonna copy paste the path and use that. Sorry, put them in a new folder. So I've read the first frame here, and I'm gonna call this cloud underscore bad dot 1, and it's reading the file that we just exported. So I'm gonna copy the path here and only include that object and hit render again. And now we should get the exact same result as if we are using the Arnold volume node. And yes, we are getting our volume. Now, because we have everything set up using frames, the only thing we have to do is go back to first of all, set the read to use the sequence, and go back to the exporter, change this to 3, and then hit render, which will export the 3 different Arnold volume version into an S files. And then we're gonna come back to the Arnold procedural and change this I'm gonna copy this, paste it here, and then change this to $OS. And if I simply copy paste that, it will automatically update the name to read the other files. And I can keep doing this. If we decided to generate 100 frames, I can simply copy paste this 100 times, and we will have Arnold procedurals for reading the the volume. And so let me save this file. And now that we have the 3 volumes, I'm gonna make sure that they all render correctly. So I'm gonna change this to 2. And it should start rendering the, yep, so it is rendering, and I'm gonna change it to 3 and hit render again. Cool, so now we have our 3 volumes exported into as files, and in the next video we're gonna start creating the instancing where we can duplicate these guys unlimited number of times and fill out the whole area. So we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.